Are you recording this call? What information do you have? How did you calculate that settlement offer? You have a right to know what information is being used to make a decision on your claim. Ask for it. Hi, I'm Javier Alatorre. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Arizona, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 questions insurance adjusters hope you never ask. If you stay till the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how you can download a copy of my Arizona Personal Injury Case Survival Guide. Let's get on with the video. The first thing you have to do is ask them, is this call being recorded? If you call because you had a little fender bender or a major accident, a slip and fall, whatever it is, chances are the insurance company is recording you. They don't need your permission. In Arizona, the law says only one party needs to give consent to to recording a conversation. The insurance company is the only party that needs to give consent to record you. If they tell you or they don't, you should assume you're being recorded, okay? Because they want to get every single admission you make recorded and documented. So if you decide you don't want their shitty offer and take them to court, they have you admitting, yeah, I think I made a mistake. Yeah, I think I did this. Yeah, I think they did that. They're going to use that against you. And maybe you don't want to have that conversation. Maybe you want to get your own attorney to make that call. If they record me, I don't give a shit. I know what to do. I know what to talk about. I know what not to say. More importantly, whatever I say is not evidence. My opinion of whether my client was at fault or not is not evidence. I wasn't there. Also, if I'm negotiating a settlement for you, settlement discussions and negotiations are usually not admissible as evidence at trial. So that's one good reason to get an attorney. Let's say you got into an accident and you hit your head. You don't know exactly what's going on. They ask what happened. I don't remember. I think I did this. I think I did that. And later you remembered. Guess what? You already recorded saying you don't remember. And if you remember later, they're going to tell you made it up. I've had clients that say, yeah, I think I fucked up. Then I go and look. They didn't. It wasn't their fault. The other dude did the whole thing, but they feel, we all kind of feel responsible. We all kind of feel guilty when something like this happens because we don't want this to happen, right? It's very important that you know, one, if you're being recorded, and two, you don't want them to record you making any admissions that might hurt your case. I'm not saying you want to lie, but you do want to control the conversation, right? Just like the adjuster wants to take that conversation to a place where it saves the insurance company money, you want to take that conversation to a place where it makes you money, it gets you money, full value of your case. It's fair, right? So why would you make admissions when you don't know what's going on? You don't know what happened yet, right? And more importantly, you don't know how to talk to these folks. You can give them my name, hey, this is my attorney, you hire me and you give them my name and I'll have that conversation for you. Remember, if I say, yeah, my client is 50% at fault, so what? I'm still asking for 50% of damages, right? Whatever I say, not evidence. This is me negotiating, right? I'm a lawyer. Second question, how did you calculate that settlement offer? Hey, Mr. Smith, we've decided that the value of your case, because you have a responsibility, you're responsible too, it's only worth $5,000 and we're prepared to give you $5,000 today. Well, you accept it, right? Let's say that, the justice says that, but before you make any decisions, you should ask, how did you calculate that offer? They might tell you that, well, this is what this case is worth, but why? Tell me why. They have a duty to investigate and they have a duty to look at stuff, right? And consider and probably give good faith consideration to your claim. If they won't tell you why they came up with that number, I wouldn't accept it. I would hire an attorney immediately and have that attorney get to the bottom of that number, okay? Look, ask them to explain their math at the very least. Because yeah, the ER is good, right? But all the $20,000 extra dollars, your physical therapy and your chiropractor and your pain specialist, that wasn't necessary, so we're not gonna pay for that. You need to know that before you accept that, right? Are they not gonna give you payment for your lost wages? Let's say you were in the hospital for a month. Well, are they not gonna pay you for that, right? Let's say you were in bed for a few weeks and you couldn't work. Are they not gonna pay you for that? Let's say you took PTO, right? Some pay time off. Said, well, you got paid, so we're not gonna pay you. Fuck that shit. That was money that belonged to you. They have to pay for that. I mean, if the other party was at fault, they have to pay you for that. Assuming there's money to pay, right? They have this computer system, and basically they have information from the case, right? Bumper to bumper, fender bender, no broken bones or whatever. Did somebody go to the hospital, whatever, right? So they input some information. They just check a few boxes, answer a few questions, and the computer gives them a range, right? And also, insurance companies have set ranges to where they can negotiate with you, right? So sometimes they just pick a number based on what they see and they offer you, see if you'll take it. So you wanna know how they came up with a number. And I'll tell you why. If I make a demand from an insurance company, they sure as shit gonna ask me about my math. They're not gonna consider any demand that I make for your case if I don't explain to them my math. They should be able to explain their math to you. You have a right to know how they came up with that number. You have to know what they're including, what they're not including, why they're not including some things, okay? You have the right to know that before you accept that offer. Now here's another question that they don't want you to ask. This is gonna change their demeanor for sure. What are the policy limits that are applicable to my claim? So let's unpack that a bit. Policy limits, what does that mean? Because when you buy an insurance policy, you're paying for protection, right? The insurance company will protect you to a certain amount, right? To 100,000, a million, whatever it is. So you have exposure, you say, well, you know, I have all these things and I think that if I have an accident, I want them to pay $100,000, right? So that's the policy limits. Let's just do an example. You're driving, somebody hits you, right? So you're talking to the insurance company adjuster, say, hey, well, it was his fault, he broke up my car. Well, you wanna know what the limits are, right? And there's different parts of the policy that determine what it is. So you have property damage limits, you have MedPay, you have underinsured or uninsured motorist claims, right? Bodily injury, right? So there's different coverage. The policy is really a contract, right? And the contract says, the insurance company tells the person who purchased the policy, if you have an accident or you have an event of this type, we'll pay up to this amount for any damages caused, right? For that event or occurrence, right? So let's talk about the car accidents. Minimum policy limits in Arizona are $25,000 per person, 50 for the occurrence, right? That means that if you're just alone in your vehicle, you get hit, and the other person has a minimum policy, they'll pay up to $25,000 of personal injury damages, right? But wait a minute, there's different policy coverage for property damage. So that 25 is just for the bodily injury. So for your personal damages, for your medical expenses. But that is on top of whatever they have for your property damage. So you need to ask, you need to find out. You say, so you're gonna pay for my car, okay, and then you're gonna pay me for my medical bills, yeah? Is there a MedPay involved? So they'll pay me a MedPay. Maybe my own policy has a MedPay, right? The problem here is Arizona is a non-disclosure state, so the insurance company doesn't have to tell you, at least not before you sue them, they don't have to tell you what kind of coverage there is. My experience is every time you ask, they'll respond, non-disclosure, we don't have to tell you. I had an insurance adjuster call me once, it was recently, it was funny. She was calling to ask me for information about my client. What's your client doing? What's the treatment doing, right? So my client was still in treatment. And they wanted to pay up for fast and get it out, right? They want to pay minimum bucks, right? This insurance adjuster was really interested in what my client was and what her damages was like that. I'm like, whoa, slow your roll, lady. Slow your roll. Why are you calling me? I'll make a claim when I'm good and ready. Well, we want to know, right? She was trying to be helpful because she wanted to get my client, money right away. She was lowballing the shit out of the case, right? Well, you're asking me for information, right? Yeah, okay. Well, how about you give me some information too? What are your policy limits? Her demeanor immediately changed. Non-disclosure state. You're asking me to be nice, but you won't be nice. If you want information from me, why don't you give me information too? We don't have to. Well, you would agree I don't have to give you information either, right? I haven't made a claim yet. Yeah, well, then you'll find out when I make my claim, which will be for all available policy limits, unless you disclose them today. She wouldn't. Once you're an attorney and you're handling this, the conversations are a lot more even keel, even level. They know I know what I'm talking about. They know I know they have these duties, and they know I know what I can and cannot do. So it's harder for them to try and play me. Because also there's a reality, right? If most people, all they have is their insurance policy, right? So most of the time, not always, but most of the time, we're really looking for policy limits unless we have a reason to go over the policy limits. So before we actually make that settlement, we want to know what the limits are. If the person has a $25,000 policy and no other money to pay you, you're not going to get the $1 million, right? I mean, you might get a judgment for it. You might get a jury to give you even more. But if the person can't pay, they can't pay, right? Remember, you need to make an intelligent, informed decision whether to accept that offer or not. And if they won't tell you, right? If they won't tell you what the limits are or how they did the math, why would you fucking take that offer? Put them in a position where they actually have to tell you and give you the information you need to accept or reject that offer, right? Always ask, is there other insurance? What are the limits? Why are you offering me this, right? That alone can make your case go from a $25,000 claim to a $500,000 claim or $1 million claim without even you knowing, okay? Here's another question you want to ask them. What specific information do you need to evaluate the liability and the damages? Let's assume the insurance company say, well, we're reviewing, we don't know yet, we want to make sure, so that's what we want to talk to you. They're not even offering you money right now, right? They just want information from you, right? If you decide to speak to them, which I always advise against, just get an attorney to represent you and speak for you, but let's assume you decide to do it yourself. They have an obligation to investigate. And you should ask them, what information do you need if they're not ready to give you an offer? If they're making you an offer, you should also ask, what information do you have? What information do you need from me? What information have you already gotten? The adjuster's not gonna like that question. If they tell you what they need, you give it to them, they have to give you a decision, right? Put them on the spot. Remember, they're recording that call. So if you actually ask them, okay, dude, what information do you need to make a proper evaluation of my claim? What information do you have already? They don't have to technically disclose a lot, right? But they do have to act in good faith and treat you fairly. You have a right to know what information is being used to make a decision on your claim. Ask for it. Fifth question, here's another question you would ask. Will accepting this settlement end my claim for good? If you accept an offer from an insurance company, game over. That's all you're gonna get. Okay. So you wanna know what they're paying. Because for example, sometimes they settle the property damage first. That usually is an easier settlement. And by the way, if you want to know about property damage claims, here's a card up here for another video I did on property damage. But anyway, you want to know what they're paying and what that means if you accept it, right? So for example, if they say, well, your vehicle was worth $35,000, blah, 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 so we're offering you 30. Ask, will this end my claim? Well, if you're taking the property damage settlement, probably your property damage claim is over at that point. What about your personal injury claim? Well, ask them. If they're offering you 5 and you take the 5, can you still ask for more? Usually the answer is going to be no. But ask them, will accepting this check and signing the release end my claim completely? Don't let them rush you. And then later you find out you have another 50 grand you got to pay for and you have no money to pay for it. Make sure you find out. Okay, so let's recap. Are you recording this call? How did you calculate this number, right? What are the coverages that apply to my claim? What specific information you need to properly evaluate my claim for liability and damages? And will accepting this settlement or release end my claim for good? Asking these questions will put you in the driver's seat, put you in a better position to negotiate that claim and to understand where you're standing. You don't have to go through the process blind though. I always recommend hiring a personal attorney, but hey, I'm biased, right? And that's it. Those are 5 questions insurance adjusters hope you never ask. If you or somebody you care about has a problem, needs a personal injury attorney, contact information is down below. You can book a free case evaluation with my team. We'll figure out if we can help you. And if we can help you, we'll get on it right away. And as I promised you in the beginning, and the link in the description down below, there's a link where you can download a free copy of my Arizona Personal Injury Case Survival Guide. Right? Download it, that'll give you some more information, help you prepare for a situation. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have more questions, there's more videos on my channel. You're probably gonna see another suggested video from my channel here on the screen. You can take a look at that and see you in the next video.